As a child, I suffered from video game addiction, which saw me spend over 6 hours daily on the screen. It was the first thing on my mind when I woke up and the last thing I thought about when I went to sleep. It eventually got to the point where my parents would see me act sick just so I could stay home from school and play video games. Because of this, my parents went out of their way to introduce me to new activities to help break me out of this addiction. Some of the activities included the introduction of outdoor sports, as well as spending more time with them. Their creativity and the handling of the issue is what inspires me today. Alcoholism is an addiction that affects the normal functioning of the body and requires creative remedies to overcome it. I've done the research and found many credible sources that point to the use of MDMA for recovering alcoholics. First, I will inform you of MDMA, its psychotherapy uses, and will finally conclude with the impact that its controlled use has on recovering alcoholics. First off, MDMA is a ring-substituted amphetamine with structural similarities to mescaline, as defined by Thal and Merriman in their 2018 article. It is crucial to identify the focus of its history as its evolution to usage in psychotherapy. MDMA was first synthesized in 1912 and consequently patented in 1914 by the German pharmaceutical company Merck KGaA while trying to identify blood clotting agents. After numerous tests, it did not work as desired and was therefore set aside. Research on the substance was studied in 1978 to reveal the positive cognitive effects of the drug. In a controlled clinical setting, the positive cognitive effects of the substance include enhanced mood and well-being, extroversion and social ability, as well as happiness and relaxation. The desire to achieve these effects led to the abuse of the drug in the market. The Drug Enforcement Agency consequently categorized it as a Schedule I drug. It later became known as its more common name, street names, Molly and ecstasy. With that critical understanding of the history of MDMA and its evolution to use as a recreational drug, I will inform you of the use of the drug for psychotherapy, especially in PTSD. The Scientific American article on MDMA's journey from Molly to medicine by Alfonso Serrano highlights that the successful use of the drug in the treatment of PTSD by war veterans. Its use in psychotherapy is due to its impact on different parts of the brain that affect hormonal discharges. MDMA limits the amygdala, which is the fight or flight response part of the brain. In essence, controlled use of the drug reduces fear as individuals confront their traumatic memories. This makes them speak more to the therapist without feeling danger and is consequently instrumental in the final prescription given. The 2013 article by Jerome, Schuster, and Izar highlights that the use of MDMA increases the empathy level of the users, consequently allowing them to interact better in society. They will seek for ways not to harm both themselves and others. This is highly beneficial as they try to reacquaint themselves with the normal functioning of society, especially after PTSD. Alfonso Serrano highlights the process used by psychotherapists as they handle patients and MDMA. The patients decide the course of treatment and the specific dosage that they require based on their interactions with the therapist. Controlled exposure reduces the probability of abuse and is instrumental in the success process. Now that we've gone through MDMA and its evidence-backed use in PTSD psychotherapy, I will tell you the use of the drug in reversing alcohol abuse amongst users. A 2019 article in The Guardian by Helena Blackstone revealed that the use of MDMA in alcoholism treatment significantly reduced relapse. Basing on the article, I will show you the success in the treatment offered and how MDMA impacts alcohol users. 8 in 10 alcoholics relapse in England under standard treatment approaches. The success of any alcoholism treatment is based on the relapse that ensues. The controlled use of the MDMA resulted in promising results taken after 9 months of the treatment to measure the relapse levels of the individuals. The use of MDMA for alcoholism treatment revolves around clinical sessions undertaken weekly to gauge progress and allow for impact. According to Sam Blackard, a reporter at the Daily Mail, the typical session involves a consultant psychiatrist and a clinical psychologist. After the administration of the drugs, there's an observance of the patient's behavior over the next 24 hours to determine their specific reactions. Psychotherapy deals with addressing the trauma that is facing the individuals, and it is this undertaking that allows for the use of the drug. Addiction mostly stems from underlying trauma, and the use of trauma-focused psychotherapy helps break this. This is also what is known as comorbidity, which is the simultaneous presence of two chronic diseases or conditions in a patient. The patient often had suffered a prior trauma when they were younger, and now when they're older, they suffer from alcoholism. This is where MDMA helps suppress his fear and allows for the speaking on these traumatic issues, thus allowing for success in the interactions between the two various parties. So far, we've gone over the synthesis of MDMA as well as its development for use in clinical psychological settings. We then went through the use of the drug in psychotherapy, as well as MDMA's role in the elimination of relapses in alcoholism treatment. Now that you understand MDMA's clinical benefits, it is possible to recommend its usage for the treatment of alcoholism. Ecstasy's abuse should not make you disregard the clinical benefit that it possesses. After all, it is all about creative solutions to the problem at hand.